Good afternoon to everyone. Once again, I welcome you all to this one-day national conference on plants and environment. And it's my privilege to introduce Dr. Yan Amaresan, who did his Bachelor of Science in Microbiology from University of Madras, and then he did his Master of Science, that is MSc in Microbiology, from May
To everyone. Once again, I will.
from Bharati Darshan University, and he did his PhD in microbiology from Bharati Darshan University in year 2012. Then his sir specialization are molecular microbial diversity, plant microbe interaction are some of the specializations that he is working. And he joined as the lecturer in Kanchi Sri Krishna College of Arts and Science, which is affiliated to University of Madras, and he worked there from 2005 to 2006. Then he joined as assistant professor in C.J. Bhakta Institute of Biotechnology, which comes under Tardasya University. He joined there in the July 2013. Okay, and Sir is also the member of editorial, some of the journals of the, he is a member of editorial boards, around seven international journals. He is either the associate editor, or he is a editorial board member in this seven international journals. Then he also participated in many professional and research training institute. Then he has some 24 research paper, both international and at national level. And he was also, he wrote around four books on the microbiology. So it's again a privilege for Department of Botany, Giriraj College, to have the eminent resource person as Dr. N. Amaresan. So I welcome sir to deliver his talk on microbial meditated mitigation of environmental stress in plants. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir. So, am I audible, sir?
Yeah, sir, you are audible, sir.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Sir,
The
thank
college
you.
to have the eminent.
Thank you very much, sir, for nice introduction. And before going to my talk, I would like
Talk
to
on
thank.
microbial meditated mitigation of environmental stress.
So, before going to talk of my today's title, I would like to thank organizers, especially Dr. Alim Khan, for inviting me to share our research work. So, my today title talk entitled "Microbial Mediated Mitigation of Various Environmental Stress in Plants." So, all we know that the plants encounter a number of environmental stresses, which can be biotic stress or abiotic stress, which leads to a loss of more than 50% of crops. So nowadays, increase in world population, we have to find out alternative technology to improve the food crops. Then only we can feed the increase population. But what happens due to many anthropogenic activities, the environment contaminated, and thereby the yield is lost, or the reduction in the yield. So there are many stresses in the environment which cause or which impact the plant growth, especially the major the abiotic stress is salinization, disturb the iron homeostasis, stasis and maintenance of the plant. membrane damage or a higher
Amar, your sound is little bit disturbing.
transpiration of water, then cause a water damage. It is not audible?
No, some disturbances coming. There is some connectivity problem, it seems. Okay, now it is okay.
Sir, I will connect to my mobile.
Brain damage or higher
So the plants encounter various stresses as I described earlier, like the major stress.
Yeah, maximum full presentation mode.
Yes, sir, but it's not working.
Yeah, it has come now. Okay.
Yeah. So the major abiotic stress is salinity. Then it's drought stress. The drought decrease the photosynthesis efficiency of the plant, and also it inhibit the water transportation. Then if we see the look at chilling and cold effect, that decrease the biochemical reactions in the plants. Also, it decrease the carbon dioxide fixation, and the ice crystal mediated damage also taken place, and there will be free radical formation due to chilling and cold. If you look at highlight stress, where we can see inhibition of photosynthesis and increased photooxidation and elevated oxygen species. In the case of heavy metal, the heavy metal pollution leads to bioaccumulation of different metals in the root region of the plant. So thereby it inhibit the protein synthesis, as well as it retard the growth of the plants. So there are many abiotic stresses which affect the plants. But if we look at plants as its own mechanism to overcome these stress, but given that their own mechanism, the yield is always lost, or it's because the biomass is lost, or yield and the growth is a reduction in the growth. Everything happens because of abiotic stress. So to manage this abiotic stress, the better option available at present is the use of plant growth promoting organism. So plant growth promoting bacteria helps plant directly or indirectly to promote plants. So the direct mechanism of the beneficial microbes includes nitrogen fixation in the plants, phytohormones production like cytokinin, gibberellins, etc. And then production of ACC deaminase, which reduce the ethylene synthesis. Then production of water soluble vitamins. Also many microbes solubilize insoluble phosphate into soluble phosphate that can be absorbed by plants. Then potassium solubilization, then siderophore production, which chelates the iron molecules. So apart from direct mechanisms, the beneficial microbes also indirectly helps plant to survive against various stresses, both against abiotic and biotic stresses. So if we look at the indirect mechanism, the plant growth promoting bacteria increases the induced systemic response against various biotic and abiotic stress. Also, some organism produce antibiotics, some enzymes or siderophore, which makes deleterious to the plant pathogens. So how these microbes helps to mitigate abiotic stress. So when we inoculate a plant growth promoting bacteria or the plant growth promoting microorganisms which are present in the rhizosphere region, it acts differently against different types of abiotic stress. So if we look at drought stress, the plant growth promoting bacteria produces cytokines. The cytokine which act as antagonizing the abscisic acid. So in general, abscisic acid is a phytohormone, but excess production of phytohormones in the case of a drought condition, which leads to the inhibition of seed germination and post-germinative effect growth in response to environmental stress. When the organism produce cytokines, these cytokines act as a antagonizing the ABA mediated inhibiting effect. So likewise, same in the case of drought and salt stress, there will be production of antioxidants. The antioxidants may be enzymatic or non-enzymatic antioxidants, which inhibit the reactive oxygen species, ROS, the damage caused by ROS. So what happened? The production of ACC deaminase, which helps in the breakdown of a compound called ACC. This is the precursor for the ethylene production. So the ACC is uh, converted into alpha ketoglutarate glutarate and ammonia. So thereby the production of ethylene level is reduced. So same way, some plant growth promoting bacteria produces volatile compounds. So these volatile compounds um, contribute to reduce the nitrogen uptake. Also, it translocate the sodium ions in the plants. So thereby, the microorganism confer resistant against salt and drought stress. Also, some organisms produce IAA cytokines or some other unknown metabolites, so which alter the root morphology and the transporter activity. So thereby, the increased accumulation of nitrate and phosphates can be managed. So there are many mechanisms the plant beneficial microbes possess, and these mechanisms always helps plant for their better growth, better yield, and better biomass. So in the few years, we have studied some research. Our research shows the inoculation of plant growth promoting bacteria or fungi enhance the plant growth in response to salinity stress or heavy metal stress. So I'll be sharing some of our research work recently carried out with respect to salt tolerant and heavy metal stress. So if you look at salt stress management, so this salinity is the major abiotic stress worldwide. So this salinity unfavorably affects crop production and pose a major threat to farmers worldwide. Not only in India, it's globally it poses a major threat. So if you look at the salinity stress, there are 20% of the land. The total cultivated lands are affected by salinity. And if we look at irrigated land, 33% of the lands are affected by salinity. So how we can manage this salt stress? The simple, the beneficial or cost effective method is to use beneficial microbes to manage or to mitigate salt stress. So some of our work recently carried out, this work was carried out in the Vapi district, where we find the soils are alkaline in nature. We have isolated some set of organisms in the soils, and these isolates were screened against the screen for their salt tolerant properties. The bacteria which found higher salt tolerant capacity were selected, and we tested on cucumber seedlings. You could see here the control plant, the growth is reduced, whereas the plants inoculated with bacterial isolates, the root and shoot length were increased. Also, apart from that, increasing in their biomass, the inoculation of these salt tolerant plant growth promoting bacteria also enhance the uptake of nitrogen and phosphorus from the soil. So you can see these graphs clearly. The control plants stem and root as lower nitrogen and phosphate uptake, whereas in the case of bacterial inoculated seedlings as more nitrogen and phosphate uptake. So not only without any sodium chloride amendment, we can also see the enhanced uptake in the presence of 100 millimolar NaCl. So this result shows that you can look at the organisms identified in this. So you may ask, some may ask, all these are relatively human pathogens. So that's why the researchers always says that we need to go for indigenous organism for managing any abiotic stress. So if we take Surat district, you have to isolate a organism which are indigenous to Surat district that can be formulated for the managing any abiotic stress. So this paper we recently published in Journal of Plant Growth Regulation, and in another study with the same salt tolerant organism which was carried out in the Daman region, where you can see the Daman region is the cultivated lands are the alkaline condition is high in nature. So we collected isolates from Daman cultivated lands. Then we could isolate some set of organisms, and these organisms were screened against different plant growth promoting properties like indole acetic acid, phosphate solubilization, siderophore production in the presence of NaCl. So the results you could see here, even in the presence of sodium chloride concentration, the isolates used to produce indole acetic acid, solubilize phosphate, and produce siderophore production. There is a little reduction in the production, but you could see it is not totally inhibited. You can see in the 2% of NaCl, there is 54%, 54 μg per ml production, but at 4% NaCl, it's a 50%, 50 μg per ml. And these isolates were inoculated with the rice seedlings under the salt stress condition. The results are very encouraging. We got encouraging results where the isolates enhance the root and shoot length and also improved the biomass of rice plants. So apart from enhancing biomass of the plants, the inoculated organism also supported in the photosynthetic pigments product synthesis like chlorophyll, also enhancement of proline content, which is a antioxidant enzyme where it acts as a metal chelator during the stress. So some of our some studies of salt tolerant bacteria were carried out in the Andaman Nicobar Islands after post tsunami. You all know that after tsunami, the salt water intrusion was more in the cultivated land. So many parts of Andaman Nicobar Islands cultivated lands are lost. So when I was working over there, we collected some soils, the cultivated land which are affected by saline water. So we could isolate some bacteria like Bacillus, Pseudomonas, and these organisms were tested for their salt tolerance ability against rice seedlings. So you could see here, in general, if you look at 4 deciments per meter, it is a or in general 4 EC, electrical conductivity. So in general 4 EC is not suitable for cultivation of any land. Okay, but here you can see here even at 5 deciments per meter, even at 10 or 15 also, the isolates showed some promising growth compared to control. Okay, so these isolates also increase the rice germination, also increase the biomass even in the presence of higher salinity concentration. So not only for bacteria, we also carried out some experiment salinity management with some fungal isolates, especially Trichoderma species. The Trichoderma species also showed a promising effect in enhancing maize plant in the presence of different concentration of different salt stress. You can also see the enhancement in the proline content, also enhancement in the total phenol. You all know that the phenolic compounds inhibits the lipid peroxidation and chelates the metals. Okay. So apart from this salinity stress, see, we also carried out some experiment with metal stress management, especially in the Surat district, where you can see Tapi River is the major river which is used for the agricultural irrigation purpose. But when we analyzed the soil samples, the soil sample used to have a higher amount of copper, iron, and zinc. So all we know that copper, iron, and zinc are micronutrient in nature, but the excess amount of this zinc, copper, iron also cause toxic to plants. So then we thought that it is a one way of like a phytoremediation into biofortification. So where one way we are going to clean the environment, in another way we are going to mobilize these micronutrients into the plant pots, so that the plant is fortified with a certain amount of micronutrients like copper, zinc, and iron. So in a study carried out in the Tapi River region, so we have isolated a set of organisms over 250 microbes, and these microbes were screened for their tolerance ability against zinc, copper, and iron. Okay, so after based on that tolerance ability, we could select separately for a zinc resistant, iron resistant, and copper resistant. So the zinc resistant bacteria were tested in the presence of zinc amendment. So you can see our results where you can see even in the presence of 2 gram of zinc per kg zinc stress, you can see the improvement in the root length and shoot length. Also, even in the presence of zinc stress, the bacteria enhance the total phenol content, chlorophyll content, proline content, and ascorbic acid contents. You can see all these are antioxidant and non-enzymatic antioxidant and enzymatic antioxidant, where which reduce the production of ROS. Also, you can see the inoculation of this plant growth promoting bacteria enhance the zinc uptake in the plants. You can see here clearly in the presence of zinc, the microbes which are resistant to zinc tolerance mobilize the zinc into the plant pots like roots and the stem. So that way, one way it is fortified with zinc content. So it is a coin with two sides, where one way it is a cleaning the environment, another side it is a fortification of important or essential micronutrients into the plants. The similar results also observed for the iron tolerant plant growth promoting bacteria in the Brassica. So these iron tolerant bacteria were belonged to the genus Bacillus Rhodococcus licinibacillus species, and this also this iron tolerant bacteria also showed production of plant growth promoting properties like IAA, siderophore production, potassium solubilization. And these isolates were inoculated in the controlled study by using brassica plants. So you could see here, even in the presence of higher iron concentration, the bioinoculants used to enhance root length and shoot length. Also, it increase the antioxidant properties in the plants. So where you could see the enhanced phenol concentration and proline concentration in response to iron stress. Also, the inoculated organism enhance the iron content into the plants. You can see all the plants, the microbes mobilize the iron which are present in the soil, mobilized into the root system, stem system, and the leaf system. So this experiment is not carried out in the artificial inoculation of the iron content. This experiment was carried out with the natural environmental soil, where we brought the soil from the Tapi River region and set up the experiment. And there is no additional amendment of the iron. You can see here without additional amendments, whatever the iron present in the soils are mobilized into the various parts of plants like root, stem, and leaf parts. So this indicates that the plant growth promoting bacteria not only enhance the plants against iron stress, also it mobilize the iron into the plant parts. So same way, the similar results was also observed for the copper accumulation, where we identified Stenotrophomonas multifila as a potential copper resistant bacteria. You can see here the bacteria inoculated with copper, which enhance the plant growth compared to control. So also it improved the chlorophyll content. Also it increased the copper accumulation in the plants. So in all three cases, you can see these three micronutrients. The higher excessive amount of these micronutrients cause toxicity to plants, but inoculation of beneficial microbes reduces the toxicity caused by micronutrients, as well as the inoculants mobilized these micronutrients into the plant parts. So as I already told, this phytoremediation and biofortification, it's a coin with two sides. So this technology could be used for cleaning the environment as well as fortifying the important micronutrients. Some other experiment also carried out with the heavy metals like chromium tolerance. So this experiment again carried out with the Vapi region, where the soils are heavily contaminated with metals. So we have collected soil samples, and the soil samples were used for the isolation of bacteria, and these bacteria were screened for chromium tolerance. The bacteria which has chromium tolerance properties along with the plant growth promoting properties were further selected, and these isolates were tested under pot studies with chickpea plants. So you can see the results. There is an enhancement in the root and shoot growth even in the presence of chromium stress. Also, the inoculation of chromium tolerant plant growth promoting bacteria increases the photosynthetic pigments also, which helps the chromium accumulation in the plants. So this we cannot use it as this experiment cannot be used for edible plants. This can be used for non-edible plants, where for the cleaning of chromium polluted environments. Similarly, we have tested for cadmium mobilization also in using Sesbania bispinosa. The results are very encouraging, and the isolates which are resistant to cadmium stress promoted the growth of Sesbania bispinosa root and stem. Also, it increased the other antioxidant properties like proline, phenol, ascorbic acid, catalase. Apart from that, the isolates also helped in mobilizing cadmium into the plants. So, so these are the some of the research we recently in the past few years we carried out. So in conclusion, what I would like to say is that the microbial mediated mitigation of any biotic stress or abiotic stress is viable, and it's cost effective, and this can minimize the other the environmental damage which are created by using physical method or chemical method. Also, it is very important to search a indigenous flora for cleaning the environment. So we cannot because say for example, if I collected, I have good number of isolates with me, but if we use these organism in other parts of India, it may not work because it may not survive in the different soil condition or different environmental condition. So it is always we have to look for indigenous microbial flora for mitigating any biotic stress or abiotic stress. So I would like to thank organizer for giving me opportunity